Well, good.
Board of Trustees regular meeting for Tuesday, October 14, 2025, 6:30 PM. Call to order. A roll call.
Trustee Buckley.
Here.
Trustee Clinton.
Here.
Supervisor Kermy.
Here.
Treasurer Dorshevitz.
Here.
Trustee Groth.
Here.
Trustee Stewart.
Here.
Clerk Borba. We have a quorum.
All right. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to approve the agenda for October 14, 2025.
Mr.
Can I make
Supervisor.
a correction?
Pardon?
Can I make a correction?
You want to make it on the consent agenda?
So we'll approve the agenda and then it'll
Then the
come up
consent.
next.
So, Mr. Supervisor, I move for the approval of the agenda for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025.
Second.
Second by Groth. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Supervisor, I move for the approval of the consent agenda for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. And because there's a resolution, it will require a roll call.
So now we have,
We need a second.
we don't have a second yet.
We
but
don't-
No, I
she had a
have
question?
a correction on the minutes.
then it's
Okay.
Okay, let's go to it.
Yeah, so under, sorry, I scrolled back up. So-
Down at the packet page, at the bottom, 5 of something or 6.
Yeah, so under my board comments, it's just the last sentence. It said, she shared that she has respect for her colleagues in the transparent process of Gray's Greenhouse. I need that corrected to what I actually said, which was, but that it's a disservice to the citizens and the presenters to not be transparent in their reason for voting no on Gray's Greenhouse.
That is so noted, and that will be changed in the, and so we will have this consent agenda to reflect that notation.
Yeah, and Laura has a copy.
Good. So I've moved, I need a second.
Second.
Okay. Okay, this requires a roll call. Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Groth.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorshevitz.
Yes.
Supervisor Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Clinton.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, public comments on non-agenda items, 3 minutes. Please stick to the 3 minutes and be civil and factual.
I will be all of those. I'm Dale Bernhardt. At the September 23rd Township Board meeting, I stood in front of this board and spoke about the need to conduct a traffic study prior to granting the PUD option for Gray's Greenhouse development. The need for the traffic study was warranted because of the heavy traffic congestion currently at the Gray's Corner, which is Lilliet Joy Road. The following day, a post shows up on Facebook on a website some believe to be authored by the former fired supervisor. The post reads, "Traffic, traffic, traffic. Here we go again with Mr. Bernhardt, always spreading fear, never a single fact." So here are the facts. The Planning Commission conducted a survey this summer to understand our residents' needs, wants, and issues. Of the 812 respondents, 606 flagged traffic congestion as a big concern, which made it the #1 township resident dissatisfier. Also, prior to PUD approval, Zoning Ordinance 99.02 requires that 8 PUD option requirements must be satisfied. Number 6 of the 8 reads as such: the proposed uses and the location of said uses on the subject property shall be such that traffic to and from the site will not be hazardous or adversely impact properties or conflict with the normal traffic flow of the general area. In reviewing this particular aspect, the township shall consider the following. Does it conflict with convenient routes for pedestrian traffic, particularly of children? What about its relationship to major thoroughfares and street intersections? Based on the Planning Commission survey and PUD requirement number 6, a reasonable person would come to the conclusion that it was appropriate for a resident to ask the traffic congestion question and for a traffic study to be completed prior to PUD approval, so this board could assess the implications of the Gray's development on an already congested corner. So I asked this board and the Planning Commission to complete traffic assessments prior to giving any approvals for developments and formally include this traffic study requirement into the approval process. Facts are important. Studies need to be completed prior to approvals, so those facts can be applied to the decision-making process. It was also written on the same Facebook site that Gray's Greenhouse proposed project is a bankruptcy waiting to happen, likely will be a future condo site once a bank takes over the property. So I asked the author of that Facebook post, where are your facts to make that statement? Didn't you just try to spread fear? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bernhardt, I appreciate you making those statements, and I just want to make a comment that before the approval of the Gray's project, I noted that the applicant said they would do a light traffic study if needed, and I did ask that that be done, but I appreciate your research and your letting us know that that is something we need to not ask if it's okay. We need to make sure that it is done before we start making those allowances. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other public comments? No? So let's go to new business. Tonight, we're going to have an informational presentation from Judge Knapp of the Third Judicial Circuit Court, which serves us here in Plymouth Township for civil and criminal cases.
Is Mike's guy?
Is this mic on?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. First, I want to thank all of you, Supervisor Kermy, Trustee Buckley, Trustee Clinton, Trustee Groth, Trustee Stewart, Clerk Borova, and Treasurer Dorshevitz for allowing me to address you this evening. I know that you have a busy agenda. I'll try to be brief. I'm Judge Don Knapp, and I serve as the presiding judge of the Criminal Division of the Third Circuit Court. Before I became a judge, I was happy to serve 7 years on the Livonia City Council and 9 years as Livonia City Attorney. So I can appreciate the challenges you face and the difficult decisions you often have to make in order to keep Plymouth a very vibrant community. Why am I here? So what I'm trying to do, and what the court is doing, is engaging a little community outreach. We want to talk about the work of the court, emphasize the importance of jury service, provide some information about our new criminal justice center that's been open for a little over a year, and let people know the ways we're trying to make the court a welcoming place. First, please allow me to emphasize the importance of jury service. The question I, as a judge, is often asked more than any other is, I got a jury summons. How do I get out of jury duty? And that's not a question I willingly answer, because I know the importance of jury service, and it's the fact that if we didn't have willing jurors that are willing to serve, our system falls apart. I often find people coming into my courtroom who come up with a lot of different reasons why they think they can't be fair. What it really boils down to is they would want people like you who are willing to engage in public service and keep an open mind and be fair and impartial. They just don't want to do it for anybody else. And we as judges and court staff know that when you get your jury summons, you're not excited to come down to Detroit and sit amongst a bunch of strangers and not be at work or with family or other places. So we try to make it a very welcoming place. As you may or may not know, we're no longer in the criminal division is no longer in the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice, which used to be located right on the edge of Greektown at Gratiot and St. Antoine. We're now in the new Criminal Justice Center, which is over on East Warren and 75. The Criminal Justice Center, as you can see from the pictures, is bright and new. Frank Murphy, had a lot of history and there were a lot of great cases tried there. But the building was old, and it wasn't always the most welcoming place. You can see from the photographs we incorporated, the county did a lot of new technology. It's very light and airy. We have very helpful staff that welcomes people when they come in. This is a big deal, free parking. Okay, whether you're a juror or a litigant or an attorney, there's free parking very close to the building. We also try to make sure that impaneled jurors feel safe. So one of the things that is different about the Criminal Justice Center is that once you're impaneled, once you are selected to serve on a jury, you're actually moved in and out of the courtroom through a secured corridor. So in that way, we minimize contact for those jurors with the parties. Sometimes there's concerns and people, don't want to have those interactions when they have to make very difficult decisions. And most of our trials don't last 2 weeks. You're not going to be down there for a month in the vast, vast majority of cases. Most cases last 2, 3, maybe 4 days. 4 or 5 days is about as long as you typically get in our building. So you're not going to be pressed into service for real long periods of time. And most jurors find it a very positive experience. You see nowadays, in the larger community, particularly in the political arena, a lot of division, right? People can't come together and reach a decision for the common good. And I always talk to jurors after a trial is over. And what I find more often than not is that you have a large you can get a very diverse group of people. You know, our jurists come from Detroit, they come from Grosse Pointe, downriver, Plymouth, Northville. And so you get a very diverse group of people that are called to make difficult decisions about the liberty of people and you know, maybe try to give some justice to victims. And more often than not, you see people get along very swimmingly to make difficult decisions and work together in a very positive way. So what is the court? You know, where does it sort of fall in our judicial system? So the circuit court is a trial court. The trial court sort of sits a bit above the district court, the probate court, and municipal courts. We have wide jurisdiction. Our jurisdiction covers the entire county. The district court, you have very fine judges, Judge Giroux, Plakas, and Barone. They cover a smaller jurisdiction. As your township attorney knows, right? Your court, and I'm sure you all know, your area covers Plymouth City, Plymouth Township, Northville City, Northville Township, and Canton. So it's a smaller area, and the cases tend to be, they're serious, but not as serious as we often see down in the circuit court. Decisions made in the circuit court are appealed to the Court of Appeals and then potentially to the Michigan Supreme Court. Decisions that come out of the district court appeal to the circuit court. So we also actually act as a court of appeals in some instances. Our court has 59 judges. It is by far the largest court in the state of Michigan. If you added up the judges from the other largest counties, you wouldn't have as many judges if you even added them all together. And we're spread across a number of different buildings. Our civil division and family division are located in the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. The juvenile court is over at the Lincoln Hall of Justice. Again, the criminal division, which I proudly serve in, is in the new Criminal Justice Center, and then the front of the court matters are handled at the Penobscot building. So, what is our sort of mission and vision? Well, we try to be an innovative court that provides equal justice to all, right? Again, we're a very diverse county. There's a lot going on, and we have judges from across the political and demographic spectrum that I think provide very excellent service to Wayne County residents. We work closely with our partners. Just as the township has an excellent police force, fire department, DPW department, we work with our partners in the sheriff's department, the clerk's office, the prosecutor's office, the county executive's office, and the county commission to provide all the services that we give to residents in Wayne County. Like you, it takes a lot of different people working together to provide that service to our residents. Well, what kind of cases do we handle? Now, your district court, you're going to have things like your drunk driving cases, traffic tickets, assault and battery cases, smaller civil cases, landlord-tenant cases. Ours tend to be on a larger scale. In the civil division, we see lawsuits that have requests for damages above $25,000. So if you ever see Mike Morris, Jeff Feiger, Bernstein's commercials, those cases are going to land in the circuit court. Also, property disputes, election law cases that arise from time to time. In the criminal division, we handle felonies. So anything from homicide, criminal sexual conduct, drunk driving third cases, armed robbery, and a lot of gun cases. In the family division, which is over at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center, there's divorce, child custody, parenting time, PPOs, the ERPOs, which is a relatively new phenomenon, which is if you've heard of the red flag laws, the emergency response protection orders that your police department may encounter from time to time. If somebody's could be harmful to themselves or others and they possess a gun, there's a way to remove that gun from the person who may pose a danger. There's a high bar, but it does give law enforcement an additional tool to try to keep folks safe. And then finally, we have the juvenile division, which is part of the family division. So you think about if a young person, if a juvenile commits a crime, it'll be handled in the juvenile division. There's also handled child protection, adoption, and guardianship matters. So again, there's a wide spectrum of cases across the court and our divisions. Again, since I promised that I'd be short, just as a little sense of, the amount of work that we do in the court. In the civil division, last year, there were 18,338 matters filed. In the criminal division, there were over 7,000 cases filed. In the family division, over 33,000. So you can see, we're a very busy court. And while sometimes people complain that we don't move quick enough, even though you have the large number of judges, when you have this volume of cases, sometimes it can feel like an emergency room as you're trying to move through your cases in a thoughtful and efficient manner. So again, I wanted to thank you for your time today. Hopefully I've given you a little sense of what the court does and the things that we do to sort of show our appreciation to the jurors and litigants who come down and have to come before us. And if you have any questions, I know you're busy, but I'm happy to answer them. Supervisor?
I have two. One is, what is driving the increase in cases when the population in the county is flat to down, and the number of businesses in the county is nothing like what it was 40 or 50 years ago?
I can't say that for certain. I really haven't seen any studies that would be able to, I could only speculate, honestly. I do know that a lot of the cases that we see in the civil division are what's called PIP cases, right? So your traffic accident cases that are often advertised among the large law firms. The law provides that you can file those cases even if they occur in another county, in Wayne County, because those insurance companies do business in the county. So it could be that a lot of the advertising is driving that. That's about, I think, 75% of the civil docket.
Is personal injury?
Are your PIP cases. Yep.
75.
Wow. And when you come,
go ahead.
I have one more question. Truancy is one of the largest reasons for school failure in the Detroit area. What leverage do you have to solve that problem?
I don't serve in the civil division, in the juvenile division. I do know that the juvenile judges do their best to try to supervise and put those juveniles on probation, include family members more, and make sure that they're accountable. But again, never having practiced in that area, it's not something that I feel comfortable answering and giving you a thoughtful or informed answer.
In the criminal division, roughly what percentage of cases actually go to trial? And of those, what percentage, just rough numbers, end in conviction?
Okay, so north of 90% are going to resolve with a plea. And in civil cases, it's even higher. Civil cases, you're probably looking at 97+% of the cases are going to resolve without a trial. And that's why if you ever get called for jury service, you're likely to be called in my division, because we do many more trials. So for example, when I first became a judge, I had a docket that was in a little rough shape. And I think I was trying about 4 cases a month. Now, in the civil division, you might try 4 cases in a year. I think I missed part of your question. Was there something else?
When they go to trial, what is the conviction rate generally?
It's not easy to get a conviction. Jurors take their job seriously. And so at trial, again, I'd be guessing it's probably 50% or more. But again, It's not based on any empirical data, that's just my own personal experience.
But that was after the first 90% already filtered out because they
Right.
pled out.
Right, people go to trial, whether it's a civil case or a criminal case, because each side thinks they've got a triable case. So the way you resolve it is by having a trial. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, as a participant for the last 50 years, the first 3 as a law clerk and the last 47 as a licensed attorney, one of the most gratifying days is what Maura Corrigan implemented was the adoption day. And I have professionally participated. It's always the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I want to give you a professional compliment. Because I think you could be the one person who could schedule that for another day. A lot of people go on vacation the 48 hours before Thanksgiving. And we're seeing an increase. I mean, you're in a growth industry with adoptions and grandparents raising children. And is there any chance you would be willing to consider rescheduling that? You know, the Detroit Legal News carries pictures, and it's a beautiful day. The Tuesday before Thanksgiving, Adoption Day. And Maura Corrigan, to her great credit, 30 years ago, implemented that day. But I don't, I have family now outstate, and I'm gone that week. And so are a lot of people. And I think we could provide more emphasis and facilitate adoptions if we put it on a date other than Tuesday before Thursday of Thanksgiving. Would you be willing to consider that?
So let me sort of be clear. I'm the presiding judge of the criminal division.
Right.
The chief judge of the circuit court would likely be making that decision. I'm happy to pass on the suggestion.
Thank
and
you.
Also talk to the presiding judge of the juvenile division. I do know that I think other courts have them on different days. And certainly you want as many people participating in that sort of joyous event as you possibly could. So I think that makes sense.
Thank you, if you would be willing to pass that along.
Sure.
I just have one question. I'm curious to know, I noted that each division has a set of judges, a certain number of judges. Right. In your court, how is it determined which judge will oversee which case? Is it like a lottery?
It's a blind draw. So the way the process works, if, let's say, God forbid something were to happen here in Plymouth, the prosecutor's office charges that defendant. Their first step is to go to the district court here in Plymouth, and there's potentially a preliminary exam that's held. And at that exam, it's determined whether or not there's probable cause to bind that over to the circuit court. Assuming that it's bound over, or if the exam is waived, then it goes to the circuit court, to our division, and that defendant and the defendant's attorney will go to what's called an arraignment court judge. And at that point, they'll have the chance to maybe resolve it with a plea if there's an offer, and if not, if they want a trial and it's not resolved, then it gets blind drawn to a trial judge. So it would be blind drawn to someone like me, and then a week or two later, there'll be that case that appears on my docket, and I'll set a calendar, I'll set dates for a final conference, motions, and a trial.
And in the event that you have a personal connection to someone involved in a case, how is that handled? You just...
So, I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen on occasion. So the judge will recognize that conflict. So, for example, if there was a close friend or family member who's a witness, a party, someone who's a victim or a defendant, then that judge would acknowledge that conflict, recuse themselves, and then it gets blind drawn to another judge. And then that judge gets to trade a light case. So let's say there's a carrying a concealed weapon case. I have to recuse myself. That's going to go to another judge, and whoever gets that gets to send me a CCW case.
Okay.
So that we're balancing out our dockets.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure, my pleasure.
When we had several years ago, when we had that COVID and everything came to a screeching halt, is everything kind of back to normal now?
Yes, so we had about, I think it was about 3,400 to 3,700 cases that were the result of our shutdown during the COVID backlog, during COVID. You know, so we had a lot of work.
Yeah.
We benefited because the State Court Administrator's Office gave the court a grant so that we could hire a couple of visiting judges. And we changed the way we structured our court a little bit. We reduced our number of arraignment court judges from 4 to 2 and added a couple of trial judges because we recognized that we've got a lot of cases we needed to try. We needed more trial judges and less arraignment judges. And so over the course of the last 3 years, we've reduced that number from I think 3,400 to 3,700 down to 20 or less now.
Thank you.
What impact has AI tools had on your part of your division particularly? Any?
No, not so much yet. There are, I think, some stories about how some attorneys, I think in other areas, have tried to go to ChatGPT and have them draft briefs and then submit them. Those don't work because sometimes you have cases that completely don't exist that are in those briefs, and if you don't recognize and shepherdize those cases, you're coming up with bad law. It is something that we're looking at. There's a court committee that was just been formed. I'm not even sure if it's met yet, to look to see whether or not there's some forms of AI that we can use to benefit the court, some of the attorneys, and maybe some of the unrepresented litigants. But before we utilize it, we have to make sure that it's effective and we have a product that, isn't gonna wreak some havoc.
So, aren't you glad you came to Plymouth a questionnaire place?
You know what? I'm happy to be here. It's great to be out in the community and see local government at work. I spend a lot of time in local government, and it's always fun to get back to where you came from.
And why'd you come here?
I live in Livonia, and I love Plymouth. Oh. My wife and I, we spend a lot of time in Plymouth, Northville, and Livonia.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, we'll take item number 2, which is 2026 budget for water and sewer fund nominally. And Carol Rashan, our new Director of Finance, and our
Congratulations.
DPW Director, Patrick Felrath, will give us some discussion. We're going to start with the Brownfield and DDA, is that right, Carol?
Yes.
Okay, so DDA is Downtown Development Authority, and a portion of taxes collected in the Ann Arbor Road corridor from Eccles on the east to just west of Kroger on the west, funds this operation, Downtown Development Authority. All right, go ahead, Carol.
Okay, do you want me to start and we can turn our head sideways to look? Or?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay, good evening. So tonight, the funds I'm going to go over is Downtown Development Authority, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, Water and Sewer, Rubbish, and the Senior Transportation Fund. So we'll start with the DDA. So for fiscal year 2026, we have total revenues budgeted of $814,100. There's a breakdown there of the different items where we come up with that total. You do see there's the revenue for the EV chargers in there, and we do have an offset for expenses in the utilities that we pay for the electricity for those EV chargers. So we have a total of $844,000 for budgeted expenditures for the year, and that would give us expenditures of $30,000 over budgeted revenue for this year. A couple of the items you see in there is rentals, leased equipment. That is the new flock cameras that we are going to lease. We did a presentation to the DDA board in the last week. They had a full explanation. If you would like some more details on that, Chief Nitel can give you some information, what the plan is for the flock cameras.
Do you want to do that now? We'll just take a minute to do that on the flock cameras? Or do you want to wait till the end of this one, the DDA? What works best? Carol?
We can keep going. I guess we could do it at the end then.
Okay.
Okay, so some of the highlights of the year is an annual contribution to the general fund for enhanced police services of $55,000. An annual contribution to the general fund of $31,600 for management costs related to DA, so this would be approximately 10% of the salaries and wages for the supervisor's office and the payroll department. As I mentioned, we're going to lease the flock cameras, and then we have capital outlay for the CSX Ann Arbor Road sidewalk gap. That was a little hard to project. It kind of depends on the timeline and how the project moves along, so we'll have to wait and see how close we are on those budgeting items. So to compare fiscal year 25 to 26, we have budgeted revenue in fiscal year 26 of $814,100, an amended budget for 2025 of $777,900, which is a $36,000 increase in revenue, or 4.7%. For our expenditures, 2026 budget is $844,000. The amended budget showing here is $1,438,000. We're going to have a budget amendment next meeting for this. There was an amount of $500,000 budgeted into capital outlay that shouldn't have been in here, so we are going to make the adjustment. So the overall increase after that, or decrease after that, would only be $94,200, which would be a 10% decrease in expenditures.
Was that for the spine road?
Yes, it was the DDA advance. It wasn't a DDA expenditure, so I'll be
It
making
was a loan, right?
Yes, it's a loan. So the DDA fund balance as shown prior to any adjustments, we're projecting a fund balance of $1,460,000. With the budgeted revenues, an increase of $814,000, budgeted expenditures of $844,000. That would bring us to a 2026 ending fund balance of $1,430,881, based on how the budget is currently sitting.
So Carol, in 2 weeks, that top number of 1,000,005 will be 2 million, correct?
Yes,
So
Okay.
it's good, 2 million to the good.
correct. Yeah, we will increase by $500,000. Okay, do you want to discuss flock cameras, and then we'll move on to DD, to Brownfield?
Thank you. At the DDA meeting, Assistant Chief Kudra, and we were joined by the flock representative, gave a full presentation on the implementation of this strategy. Effectively, half of the cameras that we would be installing in Plymouth Township, a little more than half would be funded by the DDA, and the rest was in our budget in the presentation. Cameras are being utilized, license plate reader cameras are being utilized to investigate criminal complaints throughout the area. Every community in our area is utilizing LPRs, license plate readers. We had 3 of the top companies that provide license plate readers come in. The supervisor sat in through each of the presentations. Flock is being utilized by a majority of the communities in the area, to include City of Livonia, Farmington Hills, Northfield Township. I know the City of Plymouth as well is looking at flock cameras. So it is the City of Detroit, Dearborn. In my law enforcement experience, license plate readers are probably one of the, if not the leading investigative tool that I've seen in the last 25 to 30 years, as far as assisting with investigations. Chief Issa Shaheen from Dearborn, I've spoken with him about their implementations. They have solved multiple homicide investigations on data that was recovered from license plate readers. So license plate readers are not, they are not direct information on being able to arrest somebody. It basically is a tool to get information to identify potential suspects. It's just the beginning of the investigation. A strong example of this would be, and we have utilized license plate data for years here in Plymouth Township. About 3 years ago when I first got here, we had two individuals that walked into the Shell gas station at 5 Mile and Beck. They grabbed an ATM, pulled it out of the business, loaded it into a car, and drove off. We had a description of the vehicle. There was some damage on one of the quarter panels of the vehicle. We put that information in the license plate reader, came up with the license plate that we felt possibly could have been utilized with that. The investigation continued. We did interviews. We identified 2 suspects, charged 2 suspects, and recovered the ATM in an alley in Detroit. So it was very successful in that case. As I mentioned, Dearborn had a lot of successes. I've spoken with Chief Goralski from Livonia. They're implementing theirs. They were approved 2 weeks ago, so they're in the process of implementing, I believe, 40 total in the City of Livonia. So are there any questions? Yes.
I have a question. I was watching one of those police shows. I hate to admit it, but I did. And the police officer from another state pulled a gentleman over who had a lot of meth in the car. And the police officer made the comment that, he used the LPR, the license plate reader, and that they could tell that that car had been in Mexico.
Yeah, so what they're being utilized a lot, and what we're seeing a lot of them, is in these high-end home invasion crews that are traveling from state to state, that we're collecting data from. We can identify when they entered the state, what communities they were in, all based on that license plate data. The other information that I didn't mention, which is very important, is what we used to always call a hot sheet. So information came out, we had a vehicle stolen yesterday, or there's a child missing from this community. If those cars come into our community, we are notified as soon as they enter the community that vehicle, and particularly on Ann Arbor Road with the DDA, a vehicle that's stolen has entered the community. We get notified in dispatch. Our officers on their phones can be notified, so they can respond to the area and see if they can locate that vehicle. And again, be proactive, because certainly somebody coming into this town with a stolen vehicle is up to no good, probably going to try to steal another car, and we can get up in the area and we can try to locate that vehicle. I know in the City of Farmington Hills, they had a missing subject from the Saginaw area that was located in a vehicle because of the license plate reader. So
It's very impressive technology. It's nice
absolutely.
that we have that.
It's some of the best I've seen,
Good.
quite frankly.
So we're leasing these at $3,000 a month? Is that, I
I
think,
believe, yeah, a little bit more than that, yeah.
and they'll be on poles that are maybe 20 feet tall.
Yes.
Dedicated poles.
Yeah, and this implementation will be specifically for the DDA, from Ann Arbor Road, from Eccles to the Krogers, specifically identifying routes in and out of the DDA. The implementation in the rest of our budget will identify other locations coming in and out of particularly freeways and other larger streets, Haggerty Road, Sheldon, things like that.
It's $3,000 a month for the whole package?
Not a month, $3,000 a year.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Per reader?
Yeah.
$3,000 a year per reader?
Yeah, there's more the first year because of the
Installation.
implementation.
Yeah.
Installation, thank you.
And then is there ongoing costs for the service?
No, the data is collected for 1 month. We house our own data, So that's all part of the package, yes. Yes, sir.
So are officers wearing at all times on duty body cameras? Out of the kindness of Mr. Zantop, he offered me his tonight, and he has it here with him. Are the police officers wearing them?
Yeah, I'm wearing one right now, John.
Okay, but my question is that all officers are wearing them at all times while they are on duty?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. The only time that officers, if a detective's going out to interview somebody, something like that, if it's a plainclothes situation, it might not be feasible, but our officers in uniform that are out on the streets, and every interaction they have with a motorist or a complaint, they will activate their body cameras. Yeah.
Well, there were some pretty fierce protests in the state capitol during COVID. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the vulgarity flew, the aggressiveness, I mean, it was just ugly. So that's all on body camera.
Yeah, yeah, as long as it's turned on, and which is what the officers should be doing when they have those situations, yes.
I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Carol, get a little closer to the mic.
Yeah, I didn't turn it on, so. So we're going to move on to Brownfield. Our budgeted revenues for fiscal year '26 is $818,800. That's made up of property taxes, the Eagle grant for courthouse site. That kind of depends on the project timeline. This year, it was a little slower. They ran into some items that they didn't expect, so we're kind of slowed down. We'll have to see next year if they stay on schedule or how that goes. And then we have interest income of $55,000, $600,000. We have budgeted expenditures of $785,500. That's made up of the tax capture that we return to MITC. There's professional and contractual services. That would be auditing fees, engineering, planning, legal services. And then the remediation activities of $465,100, which pertains to courthouse grill again. So that will depend on their timing and how their project moves forward during the year. So to compare the brownfield from fiscal year 2025 to 2026, next slide, Bob. The revenues for 2026 is $818,800, and the amended budget is $1,052,400, which is a decrease in revenue of $233,600, or 22%. The expenditures for the 2026 budget is $875,500, with an amended budget so far this year of $1,051,900, which is a decrease in expenditures of $266,400, or 25.3%. So some of the highlights for the Brownfield fiscal year 2026 budget would be the courthouse grill project. There is a grant of $525,000, which reimbursements are based on expenditures. There's a loan that has not been drawn on. That comes into play a little bit later, depending on their project timing. Repayment would start 5 years after the first draw. And then construction will continue through fiscal year 2026. And the budget will be amended as needed based on the timeline and how the project moves along. So the fiscal year 2026 fund balance for the brownfield, we have a projected ending balance of $1,700,151,000. There are budgeted revenues of $818,800, with expenditures of $785,500, which would bring us down to a fiscal year 2026 ending fund balance of $1,733,451. So moving on to water and sewer. Fiscal year 2026, We have a total of budgeted revenues of $14,541,800. That's made up of the various charges for services, donated infrastructure, interest expense, any penalties, and then intergovernmental revenue. So there are, water and sewer does some services for other funds, so there is money coming back in for services to planning and services to the supervisor's office. We have budgeted expenditures of $20,652,400, and that would be the expenditures in excess of revenues of $6,110,600. So those budgeted expenditures, if we move over to the next slide, we will see a little bit better what makes most of that up. So for the revenue side, we budgeted a 3% increase for starting September 2026. That would have to go to the board. That was just a placeholder at this point in time. So as of September 1st, 2025, there was a 3% increase, and we also budgeted a 3% on top of that for the following year. The capital outlay for 2026 totals $4,155,000. That is made up of the PRV replacement, a Vector truck, dump truck, a vehicle replacement, the 5-mile water tank and distribution project, and the Ridge Road sanitary sewer. We also have $1,235,000 in land and building improvements. Those would be the DPW parking lot and driveway replacement, a Vector pad, a storage yard and cleaning, building repairs, and then some miscellaneous expenditures.
I'm not clear, Carol, on how are we spending $6 million more than we're taking in?
I didn't hear the whole question.
The budget, the expenditures are $6 million in excess of revenue.
Yes.
Where
Most of that is made up in these items right here.
Tell us about,
The cap-
Patrick.
The capital outlay and the land improvements are 105% of the expense increase. So Patrick can give you some details on the expenditures.
Let's start with the 5-mile water tank and distribution. That's the Jones development, right?
That's correct. That and the last bullet, the Ridge Road sanitary sewer. So that last bullet and the 5-mile water tank and distribution, those are the MITC projects.
But we're not, tell us how, it's a complex.
It's a complex, but we get reimbursed, I guess.
The spending is being
over
funded
so
by
many times
Jones.
to the TIF, the tax increment
through the
financing mechanism.
brownfield. Through the MITC brownfield, we'll get reimbursed for that, right?
Correct.
But Jones is fronting the money.
Correct.
So these,
Yeah, we talked, this was presented not too long ago where the Jones is paying for part of it and we're paying for this amount. And for this amount, we get, through the tax increment, reimbursement over so many years. So that's really what's driving this huge expenditure, I think, are those two items that pertain to the MITC.
the Ridge Road sewer is a to be determined.
No, I think, yeah, well, it depends.
We don't know exactly
We need
when
it.
we're gonna do that.
And it will occur, whether it's, again, paid by us through the MITC or it's paid by a developer, I guess is the outstanding question. We're assuming that it would be paid by us through the MITC, just like the water tank.
Yeah, this is one of the disadvantages of the MITC. It is a TIF, so the money is paid back, but it would be, or would have been better to have the developers pay a larger share, but that was set up years ago when the MITC was launched, that there is less direct funding from developers than what I would like to see. But
So I think that's the bulk of the increase. The other large increase has to do with our Port Street building, DPW's facility on Port Street.
Could you speak up a little bit? I didn't hear
I'm
that.
sorry, I think the other significant expenditure that we're planning pertains to the DPW facility on Port Street. We have to make improvements to that facility, including an entire new driveway and parking lot.
Sure.
So does that fall under the land improvements? Or
Correct.
is the parking lot is only the land improvement part of it, the other changes?
Well, that's an item under the land improvement, building and land charge account.
That's something that's urgent or can be pushed off to another year?
We have had these items shelved for 5-6 years now, so they're desperately needed.
The building is 35 years old.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I can assure you, I will be managing these closely. We may or may not do some of these. It'll be a
just
judgment
like a
call.
home budget, you're like, I need to do the roof, I need to do this, and then you push something, kick the can down the road a little bit longer.
We may, based on how the pricing comes in, economy, if there's a slump and contractors are more competitive, then you're more inclined, you'll do maybe more. If they're hyper expensive, like they want to be over the last 5 years, then you will do less. We'll only do what is mandatory, but we're starting to clean up the building and give it some maintenance that is overdue. But we're going to be careful. We don't want to overspend. And you know me, I don't let go of a quarter except to get a tighter grip.
Yeah, we're all learning that.
What is the PRV? That's a pressure relief valve, right?
Yes, that's the pressure reducing valve. And the one we're assessing is the one that's feeding the western half of the township, pretty much everything west of Sheldon Road, more or less. And
That 5 mile in Sheldon?
yes, and that's an important PRV that we have to likely replace with the importance of the MITC tank also coming online. It's a major feed, and the Great Lakes doesn't provide the greatest pressures, so we really have to focus on that pressure reducing valve to make sure we're getting optimal pressures from them.
This is the one we're currently kicking off an
Correct.
engineering study
Yes.
with Hubble Roth.
Correct. Yep.
So we're pre-spending $15,000
Something like
to
that.
do some engineering
Yeah.
study to see what the optimum solution is for maintaining pressures, and the PRV, pressure reducing valve, is what that stands for.
That's correct, and if you recall, 2 or 3 years ago, we replaced the PRV at Northville Road, so this would be perhaps similar to that type of project.
Find one, there was. Right over there. Will you pass that Kleenex box down there?
Thank you.
I have a question about water rate increase. I got a phone call from somebody who
Yeah,
bent my ear
Yeah.
and said that their bill actually started in June, even though it was invoiced in September. So how are we timing the revenue? Do we really get revenue for water used in June, July, August, but invoiced in September?
yeah, I learned this. She hit me up first, and I eventually sent her to you because she was being,
So what she said was true?
what she said was true, and I learned something new. So what happened is if we raise water rates September 1st, and you get a September 1st bill, it actually applies to June, July, and August, so it applies in arrears. And I don't think we ought to be doing that.
No, so we'll have to,
Well, we're
it
gonna
has
have
something to
to,
do with the water billing algorithm, correct?
well, it's because the billing system can't.
The date.
They can't split it up. So I think what we're gonna have to do in the future is, we're gonna have to calculate the rates in the spring and make them effective 3 months in
advance.
And down the line, so that everybody can catch up. Because I got hit with it too, and I never knew this. And when she came after me first, and it was pretty vicious. And then, I had some dialogue with Kelly and found out that that was actually true.
Yeah, we're gonna have to study that because the way we word our resolutions in the future, we're gonna be, so we're gonna have to check into that and sort it out for next year. But I'm glad that person figured it out. They were on their game. They calculated every penny on their bill
Yeah.
and then gave me a big kick in the rear end. All right. Any other highlights that you want to bring forward, Patrick?
I don't believe so. I mean, that's the capital outlay and the, like I mentioned, the land and building improvements are the highlights, so.
Okay, so moving forward to compare, okay, we can jump to net position. So the net position for fiscal year 2025, we're projecting $75,859,255 based on our 26 revenues of $14,541,800 and our budgeted expenditures of $20,652,400 should leave us with a 2026 ending fund balance of $69,748. $69,748,655.
That's not a fund balance.
That's the value of all the assets.
Value of all the
Yeah,
assets.
all right, all right.
Yes.
We'd be
Okay.
dripping with money if that was the fund balance.
The fund balance will go from 20 million to 15 million, basically.
Something like that,
And
yeah.
change, 20.6 to 15.5.
That's your budgeted expenditures.
Oh.
I don't know if there's a fund balance. Would you take as your 2024 ending fund balance, add in your amended budget for 25, which would give us our starting point for 26, back out expenses, add in revenues, and that would be our ending fund balance.
Right.
It's not in this document,
It's right there.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so done with Patrick, moving on to the rubbish fund. So we have for fiscal year 2026, total revenues of $1,795,300. The majority of that is made up of billing to the residents, and we used a figure of 8,900 residential pickups for the revenue. The person in rubbish does provide services to the park and services to stormwater, so there is some intergovernmental revenue to repay the rubbish fund for her time. We have budgeted expenditures of $1,724,000, which leaves us revenues in excess of expenditures of $71,300. There is not really any changes to, down one more. There we go. No significant changes in revenue expenditures when we compare to the fiscal year 2025 amended budget.
Okay.
So
So
if we
we
go,
have 2 years remaining on the contract. I think October of 2027 is when it will end. And when that happens, this fund will get, my judgment is that prices will move up.
Significantly.
Yeah, right now, we're getting a very competitive rate.
Right.
Okay, so comparing 25 to 26, we're showing an increase in revenue of $74,100, or 4.3%, and an increase in expenditures of $54,400, which would be a 3.3 increase in expenses. So our fund balance, also known as net position, for 2025, we're projecting an ending balance of $751,964 with our budgeted revenues of $1,795,300, expenditures of $1,724,000 would leave us with a projected ending fund balance of $823,264. Moving on to senior transportation. So this fund provides transportations to the seniors in Plymouth Township in the city of Plymouth, and we allocate the costs based on ridership. Generally, that falls with the city of Plymouth's ridership, approximately 60 to 65%. The different revenue sources are the tokens purchased for the rides. There's a CDBG annual grant, which is $8,500. And then
That's federal money.
and the monthly billings to the city of Plymouth, rounding up, is approximately $100,000 annually.
Our ridership from township residents is continuing to drop a lot.
So there are new senior buses. They were purchased with ARPA funds. There is a depreciation expense now associated with those new buses. The previous vehicles were fully depreciated and didn't have any depreciation expenses. And there has been no significant changes in the revenue or expenditures compared to the amended 2025 budget.
Okay.
So some of the budgeted revenues for 2026. Next slide. That would be the city of Plymouth's portion, Plymouth Township, the tokens that are sold, the CDBG revenues, and then interest income earned on the funds for senior transportation. And then the budgeted expenditures are $156,600, leaving revenues in excess of expenditures of $12,900.
Now, that interest, does any of that accrue to the city?
No,
So we don't true that up?
no.
Okay.
The 94,000 that's from the city of Plymouth, exactly what is that? I mean, I know that they
We
give us...
look at the riders every month, so we get a report and tells us how many of the riders were for Plymouth Township and how many for the city. So we know the percentages based on each month, and then we take the expenditures every month, and then whatever the total of expenditures were, we charge them for their percentage based on the ridership every month.
They also get the community development block grant of, what is it, $20,000?
We get $20,000.
Okay, that's in addition to or separate from this 94,000?
Yes, the
We get
8,500, the 8,500 you see on here is this,
But that's the townships. I'm asking about the city's community development block grant. Where is their money reflected? Because it's my understanding, what I'm told is that they give the entire block grant funds to senior transportation.
Well, they may do that in maybe part of the 94,000.
they may get the grant and what they're paying, they say that they apply it to an offset in their books. I don't know what they're doing, so.
We don't get a direct
No, if they have a block
earmarked
grant,
from the city of Plymouth. If they're doing it, it's in their monthly, they're spending it in the monthly fee.
So they're just putting that to the expense, basically, and reimbursing.
Right.
Okay.
So we get $20,000 from the federal government. $8,500 goes to transportation. 11,500 goes to programming essentially, right?
The
That's the
Plymouth
program that's
Community,
run by
yes,
Plymouth Community
Council on Aging.
Council on Aging.
yes, yes. So we get, the 20,000 that comes in gets split up. 11.5 goes to the Council on Aging, 8,500 goes over to help pay for the driver's salaries.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that takes us to senior transportation net position. So the 2025 projected ending is $201,926. We have revenues of 169.5. Bob might get there before I finish. And then expenditures of $156,600, which leaves us with a fund balance of $214,826 for senior transportation. Okay.
Any questions? Any questions from the audience? All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4, we're going to
Or number 3.
have,
Number 3.
oh, number 3, yes, is the common ground agreement between the township, and Chief Nytel will summarize this.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Very quickly, 988 through Common Ground is a national telephone number for mental health and crisis management. Very similar to 911, but it focuses on emotional and behavioral emergencies. It connects people directly to trained crisis counselors, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Police department still responds when there's a safety concern, but this system helps reduce the unnecessary law enforcement involvement when we're not needed. By signing this memorandum of understanding between 911 and 988, we're making sure that these calls are handled appropriately by the right people. It improves outcomes and keeps everyone safer. This document codifies our commitment to coordination with the appropriate response for a mental health type situation.
Do we already have, is this something new,
Yes,
or do we already have
is
this
not
in
new.
place?
No, this is a system that we've used. It's been successful. It's a national program. They reached out to us, and it was basically time for the MOU to be
Okay.
updated. So,
Do we provide any funding for this?
no, I don't believe so.
No, not based on the use or anything like that.
No, I don't believe so. No, I don't have
Wonder where they get their money.
I think comes from the telecom bills.
You mean like 911?
Yeah.
So does Conference of Western Wayne administer this for us, or no?
They're involved with it.
They're involved?
To what degree, I'm not sure.
All right, so we need a motion.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve resolution number 2025-10-14-81 to adopt the attached memorandum of understanding between the Charter Township of Plymouth and Common Grounds Michigan Crisis and Access Line, MyCal.
Second.
Second. Oh, we need a roll call.
Already seconded.
Bob
So
seconded.
Bob Dorshevitz, second.
Bob, okay, Bob, thank you.
You tried to over-second me.
I did, I seconded your second.
He did it quietly.
Yeah. Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Clinton.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Grove.
Yes.
Supervisor Kermy.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorshevitz.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Isn't that the name of a coffee, Common Grounds? Something like that. I have a process check. Laura Simpson, did we miss doing a resolution for the consent agenda? We did.
Not for the consent agenda, for that first item.
For Bigby?
Yes. That was separate.
It was separate.
It was separate?
Let's
Where's it
see,
at?
hold on. It's under the consent agenda.
Yeah, it is. But it does have a resolution, right?
Right, and we did not do a resolution for, you know how we do a blanket resolution? We didn't do that? Okay, so we,
We didn't do a blanket one. I don't know, did you do a roll call on the?
so tell us what we need to do to fix it so we don't have to do a redo in the future. We want to fix it tonight.
we do need to approve the resolution, so,
Oh, the Big B.
yeah.
But it was in the consent agenda,
The
so that,
stormwater agreement?
yeah, wasn't that?
Big B is stormwater. Did we do,
We did a roll call on it.
we did?
Yeah, we're done, yeah. Yeah.
We're okay? You got what you need in the minutes?
Got what we need,
All right. Want to be sure, okay.
yes.
So since we're going to go to a closed session, we're going to do
We got to do number 4.
We got F4 yet,
Yeah.
F4, duh.
depositories.
Oh, yep, I brought that up and then we forgot about it. Okay, go ahead.
So
Bob
this is,
Dershowitz.
an annual thing to approve the depositories where our money is. The only change is the addition of Fifth Third Bank, which you may have seen in the news. They're in process of acquiring Comerica. So I added them, and
Sure.
that's that.
Do these banks give us a break on fees because are we a large depositor?
Yeah, we're pretty sizable, and yeah, they give us pretty good breaks on fees. They give us decent interest.
So there'll be, the banking
I'd like
industry will be less competitive with Comerica combining with Flagstar then, right?
With
Fifth
Fifth
Third.
Third.
Fifth Third.
And Flagstar was acquired by a bank out in New York about, I think about 18 months ago, and but they kept the name Flagstar, and they're not as healthy as the rest. There's the bank out of New York that acquired them was heavily leveraged.
Yeah.
In rent-controlled residential real estate in New York City, and so they're doing okay, but they're rated like a B minus.
Do you think we need to review that after the election coming up? I mean, that could have an impact.
Sorry, say that again?
With the election coming up in New York City, I mean, that can cause, with the candidates.
Good.
Because they have so much rent-controlled
Possibly.
mortgages?
No, well, they're proposing that. People are.
They're proposing
A
rent
particular
control.
candidate is.
Yeah, the communist.
That one.
One comment is that I have is, it's disheartening to see that we have no significant banks based in Southeast Michigan or Detroit anymore.
That's since Comerica left, yeah.
That it has a long-term effect because we're dealing with people who don't understand, especially the auto industry and how it works. And so they're less willing to loan, whereas when the banks understood tool making and other things and the long chain of receivables, they would loan against those receivables.
Exactly.
So this is more disheartening that we don't have any Detroit banks.
So we need ready for a motion. I move to approve Resolution 2025-10-14-82, authorizing the proposed depositories for the Charter Township of Plymouth for the calendar 2026.
Second.
And a second by Growth. Okay, Trustee Buckley,
Yes.
Trustee Clinton,
Yes.
Supervisor Kermy,
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Growth.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart. Clerk Borba, motion carries.
So, any public comments on any item, because when we come back here, you might be sleepy bears, so we might as well do it now while everybody is here. Any public comments? Any board comments?
Yes. In particular, it's not comments as much as it is questions that I have that I'm directing to the chief of police. And my questions have to do with your monthly report. Trying to find my form of questions. Basically, you indicated in your report that we've hired 6 new police officers, and that brings us to full staff. I would like to know, I would like you to define what is full staff and how is full staff arrived at? Is it something that's in the union contracts? Who determines what the staffing level is in the police department?
The board through the budget process. Yeah.
The board
those
through the
were
budget
funded-
process?
Yeah, those were funded positions.
Okay, and so what you're saying is that the previous board approved funding to add 6 police officers?
So we were down police officers. Those are filling vacant positions,
So how many police officers do we have now?
33.
33. Okay, now we have several police officers who are assigned, for instance, I know we have an officer assigned with Homeland
DEA.
Security, right?
Yeah, we don't currently.
We don't.
We did not, well, I did not fill that position because we were so shorthanded. So when Tom Champagne was promoted, that spot has been vacant.
Okay.
And we also have a vacant detective position right now that will be filled once we get folks trained and able to fill positions on the road.
So you're talking about like internal promotion?
Correct.
We won't be hiring more people off the street based on the current status.
Okay,
33 is the 2025 budgeted number of people, correct? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, ma'am.
we were down, that's an increment, I forgot how many of that is. That was an increment of 1 or 2 from 2024?
2.
2, all right.
so there used to be
Traffic
31,
officer,
and
traffic
we've,
officer and the administrator, there was 31. Yeah.
and we've gone to 33. Okay, now, when we have an officer assigned to Homeland Security or the drug enforcement team, whatever it happens to be, does that officer still come in here and do regular township police officer work, or are they assigned specifically to Homeland Security as an example where they're not here? I want to understand.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so a task force officer is assigned, Homeland Security task force officer would be assigned to the Homeland Security, so a majority of their time they would be assigned to a group.
Okay.
And our Homeland Security officer is assigned to a money laundering group, and our Drug Enforcement Administration officer is assigned to a federal narcotics investigation task force with the DEA. So we do see them. If there's any narcotics tips that come in or anything to do with narcotics in Plymouth Township, they handle those situations. Our task force officer with Homeland Security investigation provides extensive training to our seniors on fraud presentations. We've given presentations at the Friendship Station. We've given presentations Bradbury, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Independence Village. So that is education as part of that, but their primary duty is enforcement. When they're task force officers, they have been given the authority of Homeland Security or Drug Enforcement Administration to enforce federal laws anywhere in the world. And, yeah, they report back to me. I meet with their group supervisors, both of them on a quarterly basis. I meet with their assistant special agents in charges, also on a quarterly basis to determine how they are impacting the group, what kind of significance they have to their groups. Caitlin Nicely is our detective that's in charge of Drug Enforcement Administration. Been told by both her group supervisor and assistant special agent in charge that she's one of the most productive task force officers they have. Tom Champagne was elected 2 years ago to be the task force officer of the year for Homeland Security investigations. So they are, we see them, but not on a daily basis.
So they're not, when we say there are 33, if you have the 2 assignments, that's part of the 33?
Correct.
The task force officer and so basically they're not present here.
Well, what you're saying is there's not 2 more officers on the road.
Right, what I'm
protecting-
saying is they're
Correct.
not really doing local police work type things. They're specific. Their focus is specific.
Yeah,
and it's
yes,
outside of
exactly.
here.
And then they supplement our patrol officers with, depending on the investigations, our Homeland Security investigator has worked very high level identity theft investigations, particularly ones that go across state lines or out of the country. So they work those type of investigations. But 33 also is a number from top to bottom. That includes me.
That
the chief
includes you,
on down.
okay. So like we did the LIV event, the Livid event, do those officers, are they part of the overtime? Do they come in and work those type of events?
Every officer in our department either work the road or work the event, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, every single one.
Okay, and then my other question has to do with uniforms. I know there was a time that firefighters, I believe police officers also got a yearly clothing allowance. That's changed from what I
Correct.
understand. And now we just pay the cost of their uniform needs. Are there limits on what we're paying?
Yeah, we have a budgeted number. We evaluate the officers. We have inspections. We inspect their equipment that's on there, as well as their all the equipment that's on their pants, their shirts, their winter wear, all those things, and then we make decisions on what needs to be replaced. You know, the demand for me is that they shine their shoes, they get their car washed every day, and that they look good in uniform, so we make sure that happens, and we always work very hard to be within our budget. We had some, because of Live Golf, which we are getting reimbursed for, we had some additional clothing that we had to purchase that we would not have had to, but that was all part of the what we billed Live Golf for.
Okay, so all of that was covered in the billing?
Yes.
Okay, so,
And we have, I just mentioned this too, we also have, through our contract, our plainclothes officers do get a stipend for, so we don't supply the plainclothes officers with what they wear, but they are, per the contract, they are allotted X amount of dollars a year as well.
so each one is allowed to spend up to whatever that amount is. That's what I want to know. Is there a limit,
Yeah.
and is it being monitored to ensure compliance?
Yeah,
with-
Lieutenant
okay.
Krebs, who's in charge of the patrol division, monitors that.
Who is in charge?
Lieutenant Ryan Krebs.
Okay,
In
thank you.
patrol, and it's a daily, our sergeants on each of the shifts, we have 4 shifts, we're on 12-hour shifts. Each of the sergeants are evaluating that on a daily basis, and we make a determination if there's a hole in the pants or there's something that needs to be replaced, and then we get it replaced.
Okay, I just wanted to understand how that works, because I see, when I look at the bills, I see the expenses, and I just wanted to be sure someone is overseeing and
Yeah.
holding them accountable.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What is done with the used clothing?
If we're able to donate it, we don't donate anything with a patch on it or anything like that, but, you know, if we're able to donate it, we can certainly do that. A lot of it is just not usable anymore, so it's discarded.
Well, we have that
Halloween costume.
simple
life.
Yeah, simple recycling. They will take it even if has holes in it, because then it gets ground up and used for, the fiber gets reused.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we could have them pick it up.
Okay.
Is it still around?
Oh, yeah, you go on their website and they'll pick up. I had them pick up at my house 3 months ago.
I'm gonna do that. I
So
didn't know that.
they'll also take worn stuff. They prefer it to be good stuff, but things that is worn are turned into, insulation, or if it's polyester, they use that fiber to make new things out of polyester, clothing and things like that, other clothing. It's plastic. That's one of the largest reasons we have plastic in our water, because when you wash your clothes, the polyester flakes off into the washing machine and ends up in the sewer system. But
That's if you wear a lot of polyester.
So I just had one other question, and it is not to you. You answered the questions. Thank you. I noticed on the bills, there was like an $18,000 and a $17,000 payment, one having to do with replacement trees for homeowners, and then one is for subdivisions. Do we have some kind of an agreement? What determines that and our responsibility to do this?
we have that, we call it a tree fund, but it's not a fund. It's not a designated pot of money. It's in the general fund. And the money is coming from, for example, Meyer, as part of their consent agreement, gave us $100,000 worth of trees. So or when developers cut down a heritage tree that is 2 feet in diameter, they have to pay cash to replace that Or they could plant a lot of trees, but typically there isn't enough room on the property to plant enough trees to replace a 2-foot diameter
Right.
oak tree. So that's where the money is coming from. And Sarah Wiesel administers the program, and the tree is free to homeowners and homeowners associations, but they must be, if they go to a homeowner, they must be planted in the public right-of-way, which is the area between the curb and the sidewalk. Homeowners can plant them in common areas.
Okay.
HOAs.
Yeah, homeowners association, excuse me, HOAs.
Okay, so I have a dead tree and where you're speaking of, and so I can get a new tree planted? Is
Yes,
that
get
what
on the
you're saying?
list, and Crimboli will plant them for $125, but the trees are not that big. If it was me, I'd plant it with my kids, get a little upper body strength from digging the hole. But
I just wanted to understand why we do that and what that's about.
so the reason why is to use, it's also part of the Tree City requirement that we do something with trees.
Okay.
We also keep track of every tree we trim, any money we spend. That goes into our report to the Tree City people. They require that you spend a certain amount of money per year on tree maintenance.
Okay.
What trees do they plant?
What variety? It's a hardwood, but not a real hardwood, like autumn maple, turns red. They're doing a tulip tree, which is also known as a tulip poplar. Next year, I think I'm going to ask to have red oak, for example, but they're native trees.
Pine trees,
They are doing pine?
Pine?
Yeah.
6 feet tall, very nice.
Oh, nice.
Like a concolor would be a great, that's a white fir, it's also known as concolor, is a great tree. You don't want to plant Colorado blue spruce because they get a disease and die pretty quick,
Yeah.
so so you have to plant something that's resistant to that needle cast disease. And
Yeah, it's all over the
concolor is one of
township.
them, and plus they look real good, and they grow pretty fast. Best Christmas tree around if you have one in your house. They'll hold their needles for 90 days. It's incredible.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, John.
3 points. Very glad to receive the announcement that Stellantis is investing $13 billion in the United States. Stellantis, which has major plants over in Warren. Secondly, I want to compliment and thank the supervisor for following the state budget, which aggregate is less this year than last year. We have a decrease in revenue sharing.
$75,000 anticipated.
And finally, I want to compliment Pat Feldrath for a summary. Brevity is a blessing. And Carol Richon, whom I met with yesterday morning at 8:30 to go over the bills, is our new finance director. And I think she is highly competent. And I do appreciate her professional services.
I'm sorry, there's one thing I forgot to say. There is a group of people that is forming a steering committee to look at where the senior programs can go from here. And that committee really is meeting, and we're trying to work on finding ways to deal with the needs of the seniors and the programs and all of that stuff, separate from government funding and that type of thing. So Don Sunan is part of it. The PDCCA members are part of it. I'm part of it. And certainly we'll be bringing more people on board. But we're trying to move forward with keeping the senior programs where they need to be, moving forward, and not having to rely on United Way or the city or the township government to do that. I just wanted to make that announcement.
We are also we're continuing to explore doing the work with the Wayne State geriatrics professor to gather some needs survey information in conjunction with the city of Plymouth. I was not aware of this.
That's why I'm telling you. I thought
Group,
it'd be
okay.
nice for you to know.
Yeah, I would. I think we have to have good communication so that we don't have duplication of effort.
Right.
Do you need a motion to go to closed session?
No,
Yeah,
we
I'm not-
need to have other people say things.
Comment. So go ahead.
As you know, there was some discussion about the budget. Of course, we get less money in revenue. We're not going to get the same kind of money that we got for elections a year ago. We ended up with almost $225,000 in election money. They're not going to pay for any of the early voting and stuff like that. So that's all going to be on us.
Wow.
And there's also discussion in the legislature about moving up the primary from August to May, and then that will impact a lot of things next year to declare for elections in the future. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that. And of course, you know that Dominion has sold all of their interests to a new company called Liberty Vote. And so I don't know how that's going to impact any of our equipment or anything that we have with Dominion right now for as far as repairs and maintenance and all those kinds of things. And then whether or not there's going to be any state move to upgrade any of the election equipment. That may be in the offing also. So we have some little unknown things there coming up in as far as elections is concerned.
I hope we don't have to buy more equipment. If we do, I say revert to paper.
No chance.
Raise your hand.
All right, go ahead, Bob.
I've got nothing.
So on your email in regards to the cost or the revenue sharing decrease of 75,000.
Constitutional.
Yeah. You asked for any suggestions on ways to save money, and I remember Bob sent an email, I don't know, it was a couple years ago, about a township that cut to 4 days a week. Do you remember this? A Michigan
They cut the pay or
township?
they,
No, they just were open only 4 days a week.
right, which in this case,
What-
unless
what
you
are the
lower people's
chances?
wages, you won't save money.
Well, that was the question, is how much would we save just on random,
On
not
not
payroll,
needing.
but
Utilities, other.
utilities, I don't know.
We don't
Just
have a very
thought.
sophisticated HVA system, HVAC.
If I can find that email, I want to explore that, just because that was one of their tools for cutting
Yeah, I'd like to
costs.
hear how it saved money.
Yeah.
On its surface, I can't see it because a lot of people, like the treasurer's office, would probably be open. Maybe.
Well, I mean,
Um,
Monday through Thursday, you can
If-
pay your bills. Do you remember the email you
No,
sent?
I
You
don't.
I was like.
Well, there are
Monday
communities in the
or
area that have,
I'm not denying,
Yeah.
it. I just don't
I never
recall it.
delete my emails.
but I don't know where the
so I have it
savings is.
I don't know.
It's not, we'd have to do some digging, but typically what happens is labor unions want to work less hours, but get paid for the same amount. So that's something that have to be juggled. But good suggestion. Mark, anything?
I'm all set.
All right, you're probably wondering where the goats went. Well, with this dry weather and hot, it made the vegetation a little too dry for their taste buds, and so the recommendation was wait till next year when it's more succulent. So, well, that's why the goats are not there. They did a job out on Powell Road, which looked pretty good, so that was a learning experience, Powell Road and Huntington Park. I know we've heard Carol Rashawn is our new finance director. We will be looking to backfill her position with someone with some accounting background that we could hopefully bring up to her position when she decides to retire. We've had a retirement, or will have a retirement in the fire department, Battalion Chief Jim Hollywood Harrell, and he will be retiring, and we will have two replacements. A person will replace the battalion chief, a promotion, and another promotion for captain. That will be coming up in the next week to 10 days. Promotions in the fire department are based on seniority, not testing, so we know exactly who's going to be there based on time and grade.
Will we be hiring someone to backfill?
Backfill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there will be, in fact, there might be somebody on the list already
Okay.
that has been,
Vetted.
yeah, somewhat preliminarily screened. Any other earth-shattering things? No. So, let's go, do you want to?
Yes, we need a motion
Go in
here.
closed session.
Okay, so, we need a, how does this work now? You do,
We gotta do a motion. I'll start it. See, it is now,
9.
8:09 PM. I moved that a closed session be called for the purpose of consultation with attorneys under Section 8(1)H of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, Section Michigan Compiled Laws 15.2681H for the following purposes. Motion to vacate the judgment for the L Car Wash property on Ann Arbor Road. And we need a second.
Second.
Okay, Clinton, second. Okay, we'll roll call. Supervisor Kermy,
yes?
Treasurer Dorchevitz,
Yes?
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Buckley,
Yes.
Trustee Clinton,
Yes.
Trustee Groth,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart. Motion carries. We're in closed session.
So for the benefit of the people at home and are here, we will be coming back and voting in public on this.
Laura had a question.
Here, he'll unmute us.
You are,
Call
On a power trip with that gavel?
yeah.
Mr. Supervisor, it is 8:34. I move that the board return to open session. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Buckley. And we need a roll call. Supervisor Kermy,
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Clinton.
Yes.
Trustee Grove.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart. We're back in session.
I would like to make, Mr. Supervisor, I would like to make a motion that we direct the township attorney to continue to oppose the motion to vacate the judgment.
Second.
Before we go, is that the proper wording?
You may want to be a little more specific. Say, the judgment that was entered in 1980 under the title Calvin Rock versus Charter Township of Plymouth.
Okay, so I move to direct the township attorney to continue to oppose the motion to vacate the judgment from 1980 Calvin Rock
Versus Plymouth Township.
versus Plymouth Township.
Second.
Second by Clinton. Okay, we need a roll call for that. Trustee Stewart.
Yes?
Trustee Grove.
Yes.
Trustee Clinton.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Supervisor Kermy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
So it was unanimous?
Yes, it was. Mr. Supervisor, I move for the adjournment at 8:36.
Second.
Second by Clinton. All in favor?
Aye.
We are closed.
We're adjourned.